welcome back to Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. I am, like always, consistently happy, excited to have you here to return to have all the conversation with you about football and then Chelsea most specifically this time and everything that's the way. I'm grateful. So guys, thank you very much for choosing me. Again, I need to express my utmost gratitude, my happiness for the support, my thanksgiving to you guys for being very supportive of this brand, being supportive of me across every social, not just on Facebook, not just on YouTube, not just on Facebook, not just on Twitter, not just on TikTok, but everywhere. I am very grateful for the work, for the criticism, for the comments, for the not so kind comments, everything. I'm grateful that you bring it in. Trust me, I see everything. I take it in good stride. I try to look at what I can change, the ones I can't change. I would indulge you to bear with me. My name again is Fiifi-Manfred. This is Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. If you have not subscribed to the channel, guys, you should. Still, our numbers in terms of subscription is low, and then also the number of subscribers that do watch the channel are low. So it means that yes, we are not getting more subscribers, and two, those that subscribe have not turned on their notification. I think that you should turn on your notification and then do subscribe. My name is Fiifi-Manfred. This is Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. There is a lot more for you. So there was a time where for every team that Mauricio Pochettino was manager of, they were covering the most ground. They were the most intense. They were the ones that ran the most. So from Espanyol, Tottenham Hotspur, Southampton, his teams have been like that. I think it changed slightly, exactly, especially when he went to Paris Saint-Germain, especially for the distance covered, and then especially for the distance covered, and then the run, the number of distance that he had run, right? The running intensity and whatnot. These are just the slight metrics that I'm not really seeing with Mauricio Pochettino. And those times you used to see in his teams, but as it stands now, still Chelsea haven't gotten it. So we are looking deep into that, how that affects the Chelsea setup now, and how that may be the reason why Chelsea aren't able to control games deep into games this season. So yeah, this is Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Thank you very much for joining me. To give you all the best. So I've seen yesterday, according to the Chelsea Twitter and then the Chelsea official website, Mauricio Pochettino and his team, they trained 2 times yesterday. There were 2 training sessions in the morning and in the afternoon for the team. Essentially, he wants to get his team sharper than they were against Newcastle. I don't know if it is a punishment. I don't think it's a punishment. But you remember after the game, he had opined that his team were played soft. They didn't play. There was anything at stake. They were too soft. They made it easy, and it was the worst game of the season thus far. And there was supposed to be a day off. In fact, there was supposed to be 2 days off. He had threatened in the media that his team weren't going to get 2 days off, and that they was going to make sure that the team goes into loses their day off, and then they go ahead straight back into training and whatnot. And I told you a story of how Alex Martox, who is from the Chelsea Academy, was confused, was bemused, because when he went to the dressing room, the senior members of the team were distraught at each other. They were angry for their performance at Newcastle. And I've said it several times that you see, that Newcastle performance, if you look at that team that played against Newcastle, it will interest you to know that only 2 of the members of that team, had been with Chelsea for 2 seasons and more, like those that started. And it is just stark explanation, deep explanation, vivid explanation of exactly where Chelsea are in terms of their rebuild, and the fact that the team just lacks experience. It lacks experience in the context of where they are as a football club, and where they even want to get to, and where they were in all of those contests. And that's why consistently I tell people that you don't have to be overly hard on the team or on the coach, because it is a rebuilding process. I understand. As a fan, you want to be winning games left, right, center every day and whatnot. It is beautiful. We all do want that. But when you listen to an analyst and a journalist who wants to do an analytical job, you just oppose situations. You take situation of this side, the other side, and you try to make sense to your listeners or your viewers. And that's what we do here on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. So you look at such things that happen in the game against Newcastle, and you understand that, oh, okay, this Chelsea team has a longer way to go. I don't even think that at Chelsea are going to keep too long in the rebuilding process. I think Chelsea's rebuilding process may be fast-tracked with a few things, and I'll talk about that in subsequent videos. But Chelsea is on the right path. Again, the two most experienced players on the field of play who had played for Chelsea 2 seasons or more. The only two players that have played for Chelsea 2 seasons or more. That started again. Reece James and then what's his name? Reece James and Thiago Silva. These two players are essentially the guys that let the team down. Can you imagine? Reece, captain. And you know, a lot of people are beginning to say that maybe the captaincy is taking a toll on Reece. I disagree. I don't think that the captaincy is taking a toll on him. I think that it was in the right direction. If you look at the explanation Mauricio Pochettino gave, also the fact that Chelsea know that Thiago isn't going to be there for the very long term. So it is right that you give Reece the captain's armband now, allow him go into the captaincy, and then make mistakes whilst Thiago is there. And in Thiago's interview, he had said verbatim that he is more like a sounding board to Reece, and then Reece looks at him when things are not going well. He tells him, and then they talk about it. And I think that makes sense. As a leader, as a young leader, it's always right for you to have a sounding board. But I see what I was talking about earlier was that there was this picture, and it's in here, where you see Reece having a go at Newcastle's assistant manager, right? Literally unhappy about some things that he had done to him. Now, whilst he was doing all of those things, Thiago went close to him and kept his hand on his chest, asking him to calm down and then focus on the game. In the first half, when Chelsea were 1-1, and in the second half, we come in, Reece makes an extra mistake, gets a red card, and in no long moment from that, Thiago Silva miscues a ball, Joe Linton picks it up, and it is 3-1 against Chelsea Football Club. And that's where Chelsea lost the game. The two most experienced players on the night who, quote unquote, let the team down. And I think that Reece will just go into this captaincy job, and it is only right that you give it to him now for him to have a sounding board in Thiago Silva. And then, of course, with time, everything is going to go on in the right direction. So, yeah, I for one, do think that that's the right thing to do. But hey, you see, there's this thing that I've particularly spoken about several times, and it's the intensity of Chelsea's game in terms of press. Chelsea have been one of the best pressers in the league this season, and the intensity with which they do that has been the best. They did it against Arsenal, Manchester City, went toe-to-toe, and I was particularly shocked about the Manchester City game. Liverpool, toe-to-toe. And of course, we all know Chelsea's problems. We are not going to talk about it now, even using data and science and everything in attacking 10. I've said it several times that it's about how we manipulate the ball with respect to our strikers, especially for Nicolas Jackson, because you create high quality chances. So why are we not scoring? It's about ball manipulation and getting the job done, and also being a killer in the box and having killer instincts. We don't seem to have that now, although Nicolas Jackson is scoring as it stands now. But there's just this thing. There's this one thing that I've seen several times in Mauricio Pochettino's teams, and I'm not seeing in this particular one. And it's not something that I'm only telling you via the eye test. I'm telling you based on not just the eye test, but also with data back with it. So the data will be rolling. And first of all, at X-Panel, Mauricio Pochettino's teams consistently covered the most ground, covered the most distance in terms of their press. And you see, I look at this again in the form of just a position where I say, okay, fine. Maybe at the times, a lot of teams weren't pressing that high. So why is it at the time? Pochettino's Espanol side. And again, by way of context, this comes off the back that Pochettino's biggest role model is in there. That's where he learns this from. He is the kind of person that gave him this mentality. He played under him at Argentina, and I think also in Boca Junior, and then he did a job. Mind you, when Marcelo Bielsa came to Leeds United, Marcelo Bielsa's team were one of the teams that covered the most grounds. highly intense, pushing up the field of play, going toe to toe with teams, running and fighting. And Pochettino did see that Chelsea needs to fight to win games. But there's just one element. And I saw also in the training pictures where his son, Sebastian Pochettino, was sticking the players through their paces. You remember when Pochettino came to Chelsea? The players are spoken of the Garçon test. The Garçon test is essentially a test where they test the players' endurance and how they'll run certain distances, they'll increase by a distance, they'll run another distance, they'll increase by another meter, like that. And Ben Chilwell spoke about how that was important to him in a bid for him to get his fitness back, right? So it's very important, it's very imperative, especially in how much Pochettino wants to play. The players have to be sharp, they have to be covering the most distance. But I'm not seeing that now. Tottenham Hotspur, he did. I think his first 2 seasons he was up there. Second season he was there. Southampton, those did happen. Again at Espanyol, it did happen. And I've said several times that at Paris Saint-Germain, they weren't really the kind of team that were pressing and being that intense. Maybe because he realized that he had too much quality, so he dropped it off a little bit and didn't want to push these guys to their limit. But at Chelsea, I'm not seeing that either. And again, it's about what teams were doing the other time, because you have to compare it to other teams. I think this time teams are beginning to also press very high. Almost every team in the league presses now. Almost every team. Even the teams that sit in the mid block will vary it. They will press high at some point in time. Sometimes they'll go in the mid block. Sometimes they'll push up. It's a variation of press. And it's very, very important. And that is what the disparity may be. But I think it's something I would want to see. I think it's just the last step of the tactical process and technical process where I want to see the team being the first or second in terms of grounds that I've covered. Then you know that they are physically the sharpest in the league. And then their press is almost impeccable now in that regard. And that's where I am waiting to see. And I think when they play teams like Brighton and the likes, with the next 2-3 games after the first round, we should be able to see that the team are there. And I think I'm going to see it. This team is younger and they can do that job, and Pochettino will get it done. So yeah, that's just the one thing, the one metric that hasn't improved with Chelsea since Mauricio Pochettino took over. And yeah, that's it, where the curtain will be drawn here on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Guys, thank you. There's a big game over the weekend, Brighton. Mind you, I'll be bringing you the preview of every game. So if you are not a Chelsea fan, you should still be able to get content to enjoy. Preview of all the other games over the league, over the weekend. God willing, tomorrow. So tomorrow most likely we'll post 2 videos and then the preview of the Chelsea game as well. My name is Fiifi-Manfred. Thank you very much for choosing me on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. I'm grateful to have you here. My name is Fiifi-Manfred. Do like, subscribe, and turn on notification. Bye.